welcome back to the channel. I had made brief mention of it in one of the previous videos, but at the beginning of October of this year, we got a call from our dog's boarding facility that he needed to be rushed to the emergency vet immediately with loss over all 4 limbs and what looked like seizures of some type of neurological condition. He ended up spending 3 nights at a specialty clinic in Boston with all kinds of tests and medication, and when he was released, not before racking up a huge bill, he was unable to stand or walk on his own. But as you can tell, our boy's a fighter, and over time, he slowly and steadily improved. We now know that what caused his condition was something called Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever, which is a tick-borne illness. Eventually, we went from walking to our first little trot, and even a few stairs. Still a little shaky though. At this point, even though he's still taking a bunch of meds for some time, we can talk about a full recovery. Even the myoclonic jerk, which he had on his whole body, and you could see in some of the previous clips, completely disappeared. We feel really lucky to have him back in our lives, but as you can imagine, this was a very stressful and trying time for us as a family. But no matter how busy or stressful it might be for us, winter is still coming, and that means it's high time for me to start processing some of the firewood from last year. This includes both stacking up smaller pieces that are already bucked to length, as well as splitting some of the larger pieces, for example, the big elm rounds that have been laying around since the last year. As mentioned in some of the previous episodes, these are not how-to videos, and this most certainly is not a tutorial on proper technique for splitting wood. My original plan was to rent a splitter for a day, but I realized that I don't actually have that many pieces that are so large that the boiler can't take them. So I'm deciding to have a go by hand. Some of the pieces are extremely challenging to split, which gives me a chance to try out something else that I've never used before, splitting wedges. They're easier to use than I expect, but still present some challenges. And what would one of these videos be without something breaking or going wrong? Between splitting firewood, I also find a little bit of time to finally get my garlic in the ground for next summer. It's pretty late in the year, so I give the beds one last good weeding and amend them with a phosphorus heavy fertilizer. I plant a total of 3 varieties, 2 hardnecks and 1 softneck variety. I only select the largest cloves to plant and probably give them a little bit more spacing than is needed when pushing them a few inches into the ground. I rake up a bunch of leaves, which are pretty much an infinite supply on the property, and also pick up the elm bark that came off the rounds that I just got done splitting. My plan is to use the leaves as mulch for my beds, and then use the bark of the tree to weigh it down and prevent it from blowing everywhere when it gets windy. I'm happy with the result. It seems to be functional and looks pretty good as well. And in between processing more firewood, I also find a little bit of time to do something to get the orchard ready for winter. Apparently, especially young fruit trees can suffer from something called southwest injury. It's a splitting of the bark that occurs from sudden changes in the temperature, for example, if a cloud goes in front of the sun on a cold winter day. These injuries can cause serious harm to the tree and even kill them off completely. In order to not let that happen and to protect our investment, I make a 50-50 whitewash of some latex paint and water. This whitewash is recommended to extend up to the first set of branches and is supposed to help the tree bark reflect the sunlight and prevent these large temperature changes from occurring. And I notice as I'm painting the trunk of this persimmon that it actually already has a longitudinal split in its bark. You can see it really come out as the trunk turns white, and it's probably southwest injury from previous years. As fall has turned to winter, we have some of our first hard frosts. And with that happening, it's time to turn our attention once again to projects inside of the house. We have the kitchen renovation all lined up for these next weeks, so stay tuned for more content to come. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.